My suspicion is that they want to harm him. And what I'm very sure of is that President Museveni wants him out of politics, out of political contestation. It's quite obvious. It's quite obvious. Because since he started to run, President Museveni has continuously criminalized him, and courts have exonerated him. So this is not new. It's not new. From day one, when he declared he was running, he called him a traitor and said he would put him 6 feet under. That means in the grave, if you don't understand 6 feet under. So he's been threatening him, criminalizing him, dragging him before courts to answer trumped-up charges, and he gets exonerated. This is yet another of those attempts on him. So I know that President Museveni is afraid of real political contestation, always uses the most violent language against those who challenge him politically, uses force, silencing, torture. All these methods that he uses against the opposition are wrong. And this is what Besigya has suffered for 25 years. We are going through the same. But in this case, when you say, what do I fear? I'm afraid they're going to harm him. Why would you stop me from seeing him? Why? If you don't mean to harm him, why do you want him for 1 month not to see anybody close to him, family? Why? Today I'm going there, I'm taking there a letter for him to sign. Actually, not a letter, I'm taking him not paper, to write in his own hand that he is appointing Martha Karua and another Kenyan lawyer to lead his team. Martha to lead his team and another Kenyan to join his team of lawyers to defend him. Because this letter must go to the law council so that Martha is given that permission to be in the courts of Uganda. I am taking it there. If they stop me, I will tell you, I'll let you all know. The world must know that injustices are being committed against this man. Why am I suspicious? I'm suspicious because on the first day that Dr. Kizza Besigye arrived at Luzira prison, he found the long-standing commander of Luzira Upper Prison, a man called Mr. Mbazira, handing over on that day to a new commander of the prison. Mr. Mbazira had been asked on that day to hand over immediately and to go for training. It seemed suspicious that should happen on the day Kizza Besigye arrives. What made it even more suspicious is the person appointed to take over from Mr. Mbazira, who is a senior prisons officer who served a long time and heading the biggest prison in Uganda, is now replaced by a young man who, in my view, looks like in his 30s, who went for training as a prisons officer only in 2020. If you consider that it takes about 1.5 years to complete training as a prisons officer, then that means he hasn't even served 3 years in the prison service. He's now the head of the biggest prison in Uganda. Why? Why does that happen on the day Besigye arrives? That this senior prisons officer is told to hand over immediately to a very young Munyankole prisons officer who is clearly a junior. Why? Now, as if that was not bad enough, we got information, we were informed at the prison that for a whole month the prison is closed to visitors. Imagine, in a holiday season, Christmas season, that the prisoners there will not receive visitors because the officers are on standby. This has never happened before. Besigya was a prisoner there in 2005. He was also before that kangaroo court called a military tribunal. I visited him at Luzira prison every 2 or 3 days throughout the Christmas season, throughout January. He was released on the 2nd of January. But we visited him. Boxing Day, I was there with my son Anselm to visit him. And there were other people visiting their prisoners. Why did they decide now that now the prison is shut to visitors? I went and saw the Commissioner General of Prisons on Tuesday. I sat in his office and we talked, and I put this question to him. Then, to my surprise, he says, "No, I haven't stopped visitors. You can visit." I said, "No, you have, because we've been to the prison." Then he called, he made some phone calls, and he said, "No, Winnie, you are okay. You can go and visit your husband." I said, "No, I'm asking for all Ugandans. Can all Ugandans with prisoners go and visit throughout this season?" He didn't give me a good answer, clear answer. I left without a clear answer. But the next day, they issued a press release saying, "Visits are suspended, but you can bring food and leave it at the gate." I am not leaving Besigya's food at the gate without knowing who is taking it to him. What if they give him what's not what I haven't brought? Everyone wants to take their food and hand it to their person. So I'm protesting that. And I'm saying this not only for my prisoners, but for every other Ugandan who has prisoners there. They have the right, they should have the right to see their people and to give them food and whatever else they need. So, all this has made me suspicious about the intentions that the government has towards Dr. Kizza Besigye and Haj Obed Kamlegeya. I question their intentions. Why did they abduct him? When there were clear processes, legal processes for bringing them from Kenya to Uganda. And when it was also very clear that they are returning. Besigya has many cases here and he's always appearing in court. He travels, he comes and sees us and returns and goes to court. He was not a flight risk. Why did they have to abduct him? Why did they have to bring him in a prison and change the prison leaders? The prison leader. Why are they now saying for 1 month we must not see him? What do they want to do to him in that month? I'm asking. So I'm putting it to you, my fellow Ugandans. I'm putting it to the government. We are watching you. The whole world is watching you. Whatever happens to these two men, the world is watching you. You cannot do it in darkness. And I'm putting them on notice that I'm going to go to the prison, they can chase me away, and I will still come to the prison. It's my right to see my husband in prison. I know that he's not in the best of conditions. I am told by those who were able to go inside that he's locked behind like 6 levels of locks. You enter one and you lock, and you enter another and you lock 6 times before you reach a tiny little room where he's sleeping. That it looks more like a store than a room. I didn't want to complain about all of that. We were happy to wait until he goes to a proper court and seeks bail. But one thing after another is leading me to believe that these people who have abducted him have wrong intentions and want to harm him. So There it is. I'm putting it before all people, the entire world, to know that some harm is being done to these two men. Thank you. He told me that I can go. And I thanked him for saying that. But that didn't answer my question, that can everyone who has a prisoner go and visit their prisoner according to the guidelines we've always had? He didn't answer that. So instead he came out with a statement, or the prison office officials came out with a statement that visitors are not allowed but can deposit food at the gate. And I am challenging that. I'm saying that's inhuman, that's cruel, and it's a change in the rules, and I'm questioning why have they changed those rules when Besigya arrives. That's my suspicion. He has assured me that I can go, but I don't even trust his word, because they say one thing and do another, because they abducted him, because they changed the leader of the prison. All those things make me doubt their intentions and not even trust their assurance to me, but I'm going to test it. I'm heading there to see whether they'll let me in.
And then the last time, when was the last time you spoke?
I saw him on Friday.
How is
He's well, thank God. He's strong. He's a person who can endure hardship, and who's very persevering. So he was in good shape, and I thank God for that, and I hope he can stay like that.
And then I would also want to know, did we share the condition
of the forces?
I imagine so, but I would need...
Again, you must give that cause for fear that is really pointing at maybe a clue that you've been informed that something is intended, something that is really pointing at your claim that is unsafe. What is that justification?
Don't put your thoughts in my head. I've told you that I am suspicious. And I am suspicious because of a sequence of things. First, abduction. Somebody who abducts you commits a crime. So the state has committed a crime against him. And why would I think they won't commit a second and a third and a fourth crime against him? That's one. Two, they brought him under very harsh conditions. An old man with these young men sitting on them. That is the condition they put him through. They threw him in a military jail. Then they brought him to the civilian jail because we protested. In the civilian jail, the day he arrives, they remove the leader, an old, well-trained prisons officer. They replace him with a young, inexperienced prison officer. These all lead to me to be suspicious. Then they change the rules. In the middle of it all, now they change the rules and they stop us from accessing him. So what's all that about? What's all that about? The person you've abducted, now you say he must not be seen as well? There's something wrong there. So I just want to say that I am suspicious, and if anything happens to these two men, President Museveni, you are answerable.
Honorable, you're a high profile.
Other people will have to answer.
You're a high profile.
Okay. My suspicion is that they want to harm him. And what I'm very sure of is that President Museveni wants him out of politics, out of political contestation. It's quite obvious. It's quite obvious. Because since he started to run, President Museveni has continuously criminalized him, and courts have exonerated him. So this is not new. It's not new. From day one, when he declared he was running, he called him a traitor and said he would put him 6 feet under. That means in the grave, if you don't understand 6 feet under. So he's been threatening him, criminalizing him, dragging him before courts to answer trumped up charges, and he gets exonerated. This is yet another of those attempts on him. So I know that President Museveni is afraid of real political contestation, always uses the most violent language against those who challenge him politically, uses force, silencing, torture. All these methods that he uses against the opposition are wrong, and this is what Besigya has suffered for 25 years. We are going through the same. But in this case, when you say, what do I fear? I'm afraid they're going to harm him. Why would you stop me from seeing him? Why? If you don't mean to harm him, why do you want him for 1 month not to see anybody close to him, family? Why? Today I'm going there, I'm taking there a letter for him to sign. Actually, not a letter, I'm taking him not paper, to write in his own hand that he is appointing Martha Karua and another Kenyan lawyer to lead his team. Martha to lead his team and another Kenyan to join his team of lawyers to defend him. Because this letter must go to the law council so that Martha is given that permission to be in the courts of Uganda. I am taking it there. If they stop me, I will tell you, I'll let you all know. The world must know that injustices are being committed against this man.
According to Uganda prison, their statement says that visitation will...
That the reason why I'm talking to you, the press, is that an injustice has been done, a crime has been committed against these two men, and I am seeing more crimes being committed against them. And I want the whole world to see. We have no power, no governmental power to stop them, but we have the power to speak and tell the world and show the world that injustices are being done against these two men. So I thank you for being here to take this voice of mine and let everybody know what's going on here. And let me tell you, the world is watching. The world is watching. As I sit here, I'm getting messages from people all over the world. I'm getting messages from leaders from all over the world, from Africa, from South Africa, from Nigeria, from Angola, from as far away as Latin America, from as far away as New Zealand. People are following this, and I thank you for covering this, because what's happening to him is a violation of his rights, is also a violation of international norms, sovereignty rules, and people are concerned because if they get away, they've been getting away breaking the rules in Uganda, now they get away with crossing the border and committing crimes in other countries. This upsets many people, and many people want to know that this is going to be stopped. So there's interest in this case, and I thank you for covering it. We really must stop this deterioration, this lawlessness by our government now spreading to other countries. We need to put a stop. And that stop is not just about Besigya, it's about the rights of everybody. So thank you. Besigya tayogera ku ebyo. Namubuuza nti oli otya, n'agamba gye ndi ebya wano nabimanyiira. Nze kyenjagala bulira bannayuganda nti beerwaneko, ndi musibe naye nabo basibe. Bwatyo bw'ayogera. Tayogera nnyo ku oba alumwa, mugumiikirivu. Mutwalira olupapula plain awandiika ebbaluwa ye nga awa appointment Martha Karua okukulembera ttiimu ye yabalooya. Ate ajja kwongeramu n'omusajja omulala omulooya we Kenya naye asabye nti abeere ku ttiimu. So eyo ebbaluwa tuteekwa okugiwa aba law council basobole okutunuulira mu application ye. So ngenda gitwalayo olwaleero. Baŋŋambye nti we bamusibidde nti kasenge katono kalinga esitoowa, ate nti oyita mu gates ensibe nga 6 okutuuka gy'ali. Njagala mutegeere nti ekyo ekintu tebakikola kubanga balowooza nti Besigya agenda kusala locks 6 adduke. Naye bakola ebintu ng'ebyo okutabula omutwe, psychological pressure. You feel like you are a criminal who is of the most dangerous type. That is what they want to put in your mind, to terrorize you. It's mental terror. That's what they are doing to him.